I, female, 31, need some outside perspectives. I'm 6 months pregnant with our first baby after trying for almost 2 years, and I should be happy right now, but instead, I'm dealing with the most ridiculous situation with my husband's sister. I've been married to my husband, Mark, male, 33, for 5 years. We met at a housewarming party through mutual friends, and we just knew we'd be important in each other's lives. I'm not usually this sappy, I swear. Maybe it's the pregnancy hormones. We've been trying for a baby for a while, and I'm finally pregnant, and everything has been going pretty well until recently. We decided on naming our daughter Charlotte Rose. Charlotte after Mark's grandmother, who basically raised him when his parents were going through a nasty divorce when he was a kid, and Rose after my mom, who passed away from breast cancer 3 years ago. It's important to both of us to honor these women. Last weekend, we had this family dinner where we officially announced the name to everyone. Most of Mark's family was excited and loved the name and the meaning behind it, except for his younger sister, Kristen, female, 27. Kristen has always been attention-seeking. She once demanded her parents throw her a second Sweet 16 party because it rained during the first one and ruined her special day. And there was this one time I wore a polyester dress to a family function and got compliments. And suddenly, the next week, Kristen is telling everyone she's allergic to polyester and makes a big show of leaving the room whenever I wear anything synthetic. At the dinner, Kristen burst into tears when we announced the name. She kept excusing herself to compose herself, but made sure everyone noticed how upset she was. She'd blow her nose super loudly from the bathroom with the door open. I figured maybe she was just emotional about her grandmother being mentioned, even though they weren't even that close, so I tried to be understanding. Later that night, she cornered me in the kitchen when I was getting water. She told me she needed to talk about the baby name. I thought maybe she had a suggestion for a middle name or something. Instead, she told me I should reconsider and name my daughter Buttercup. I laughed, thinking she was joking, but she wasn't. Buttercup was her cat that died 3 months ago. She had the cat for 16 years. I explained that we picked names that honor actual human family members who were important to us. She got upset, saying the cat is family and that I'm being selfish. I suggested maybe Buttercup could be a nickname, even though I'd never actually do that. She just got more upset, saying I don't understand what the cat meant to her, and then stormed off saying I'd regret this. When we got home, I told Mark about it, and he agreed it was ridiculous, but asked me to drop it, since she always gets like this when she doesn't get her way. But here's where it gets worse. For the past 2 weeks, I've been getting weird texts from friends and family asking if everything is okay at home, and if Mark and I are doing all right. Some context. I've been dealing with pregnancy-related carpal tunnel syndrome, so my doctor suggested I work from home 3 days a week. My coworker, Austin, sometimes drops off design materials I need since I'm a graphic designer. Yesterday, Mark mentioned that his coworkers were asking if he was doing all right with everything happening at home. When I pressed him about it, he admitted that Kristen has been telling people she caught me texting romantically with a male coworker. I was furious. Mark's cousin Tara told me the whole story. Kristen is telling everyone that I'm having an affair with Austin and that the baby might not even be Mark's, all because I wouldn't name our daughter after her cat. I confronted Mark about this, and he says he trusts me completely, but I can tell something's off. He started asking questions about my work schedule and seems weird when I mention Austin dropping off materials. We've been married 5 years with 0 trust issues, and now he's letting his sister make him doubt me. Meanwhile, Kristen just got engaged to this guy Greg, male, 29, who seems oblivious to how manipulative she is. She's posting engagement photos while trying to convince people I'm cheating on my husband. I don't even know what to do at this point. Am I overreacting? Should I confront Kristen directly? I'm trying not to stress too much because it's bad for the baby, but these rumors could seriously damage my marriage. Edit. Thank you all for the supportive comments. To clarify, since a lot of people are asking, yes, Austin is married with 3 kids, and no, there has never been anything inappropriate between us. He literally drops off work stuff in my driveway, and we talk for maybe 5 minutes max. Edit 2. Several people asked about Mark's parents. They're still around but have a strained relationship with both kids because of their messy divorce. Mark is much closer to his grandma, who passed, than his parents. Edit 3. For those suggesting I just use Buttercup as a middle name to keep the peace, no. Just no. I'm not naming my child after someone else's pet. That's insane. My mom died, and this name is important to me. I can't believe I even have to explain this. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my last post, and honestly, things have gotten so much worse. Those rumors Kristen was spreading. Well, they've basically become full-on accusations now. She's telling everyone, and I mean everyone, that I'm having an affair with Austin, my coworker who drops off work stuff, and that the baby might not even be Mark's. Like, what the actual hell? All because I wouldn't name my daughter after her stupid cat. Sorry, that was mean. I'm just so frustrated right now. Last week, Mark's aunt threw me a baby shower, and oh my freaking God, it was awful. Half of his family was giving me these weird looks the whole time. His great-aunt Meredith even asked me if the baby's father would be at the delivery with this smug look on her face. I just told her, of course, Mark would be there, and walked away. But I was shaking. My doctor is now concerned about my blood pressure. At my last appointment, it was way higher than normal, and she started talking about pregnancy-induced hypertension and how stress can affect the baby. She asked if anything stressful was happening at home, and I just burst into tears right there in the exam room. So embarrassing. She wants to monitor me more closely now, which is just great. Another thing to worry about. The worst part is what this is doing to my marriage. Mark says he believes me, but I can tell something's off. I caught him checking my phone the other night when he thought I was asleep. He tried to play it off like he was just moving it to charge, but I'm not stupid. And when I suggested going back to work at the office full-time, even though my carpal tunnel is killing me, he looked so relieved. Like he'd rather I be in physical pain than have Austin drop by occasionally. We've been married 5 years with zero trust issues before this. He's sleeping on the edge of the bed now. We barely talk anymore unless it's about baby stuff. I keep catching him staring at me with this look I can't even describe, like he's trying to figure something out. I hate it. I decided I needed to figure out why Kristen is so determined to destroy my marriage over a freaking cat name. Like there has to be something deeper going on, right? So I started digging. First, I reached out to Darlene, who knew Kristen in college. She was super hesitant to talk at first, but finally admitted that Kristen has always been jealous of me for taking her brother away. Apparently, Kristen used to complain about me constantly, even when Mark and I first started dating. Said I was manipulative and fake, projection much. Then I remembered Greg, Kristen's fiance, had dated Alicia for like 2 years before Kristen. They had this messy breakup that nobody ever really explained. So I found Alicia on Instagram and messaged her. She ignored me at first, but eventually agreed to meet for coffee. You guys, OMFG. Alicia told me Kristen did the exact same thing to her. She spread rumors that Alicia was cheating on Greg with some guy from her gym, which caused their breakup. Alicia was devastated and could never figure out why everyone believed Kristen over her. And get this, Kristen started dating Greg like 2 weeks after they broke up. How did I not know this? I spent a whole night going through Kristen's social media. Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but I was desperate. I found posts about Princess Buttercup, the cat, where she called the cat her only true family, even when she was living with her parents. There was this whole weird possessive thing about the cat. Oh, and I also discovered Kristen has scheduled her wedding for just 3 weeks after my due date. Who does that? She knows I'll either be too pregnant to attend or will have a newborn. It's so obviously deliberate. The biggest evidence came when I got screenshots from a mutual friend. Kristen had messaged this friend saying she was going to make Jennifer pay for refusing to honor Princess Buttercup. Direct quote. She literally wrote that she was going to make Mark see what kind of woman he really married. I printed everything out, the screenshots, testimonials from people Kristen had lied about, a timeline showing how the rumors started immediately after the baby name conversation. I had this whole folder of evidence, and then I just broke down, like completely lost it. I cried for hours. I seriously considered just packing up and moving away from Mark's entire family. Finally, I decided to confront Mark. I waited until after dinner one night and just sat him down with the folder. He looked annoyed at first, like I thought we were past this. We were not past this. I didn't say anything, just handed him the screenshots of Kristen literally admitting she made everything up. You should have seen his face. He went completely pale. At first, he tried to question if they could be fake or if I was misinterpreting things, seriously. But then I showed him everything. All the messages from different sources, Alicia's story, the timeline, everything. He put his head in his hands and told me he couldn't believe his sister would do this. I got really upset and asked him how he could doubt me at all. He tried to defend himself at first, but finally admitted he should have trusted me completely. I told him about my blood pressure issues and how the doctor is worried, and he just broke down crying and apologizing over and over. He promised he'd confront Kristen, but I don't think that's enough. Here's the thing. Kristen and Greg are having their engagement dinner this weekend. It's at this fancy restaurant, and both families will be there, plus close friends, like 30 people or so. After talking for hours, Mark and I decided that's where we need to address this. Mark wanted to talk to Kristen privately first, but I refused. She'll just deny everything without witnesses. I know my mom would be horrified at the idea of a public confrontation like this. She always said to handle things privately and never air your dirty laundry. But Mom isn't here, and I honestly don't know what else to do. This woman is destroying my marriage and potentially harming my baby with all this stress. I've been rehearsing what to say all week and keep second-guessing myself. I'm so nervous about causing a scene while pregnant, but I can't let her keep doing this. And honestly, Greg seems like a nice guy. He should know what he's getting into before he marries her, right? But then sometimes I wonder if I'm being too harsh. Maybe she's just processing grief over her cat in a really unhealthy way. But that doesn't excuse making up lies about me cheating. I don't know what to do. Any advice on handling the confrontation? Am I making a huge mistake by planning to do this at their engagement dinner? Edit. A lot of people are asking why Mark isn't handling this himself. He is going to say something too. But we both agreed I should be the one to present the evidence since I'm the one being accused. And yes, we've considered just sending the evidence to everyone individually, but there's something about letting her see everyone's reactions in real time that feels necessary. Is that petty? Edit 2. For those saying I should think of the baby and avoid stress, that's exactly why I need to resolve this now. My blood pressure is already elevated from the stress of having people think I'm cheating. My doctor literally said I need to eliminate sources of stress. Now for the second update. So, it's been 2 weeks since my last post, and I'm still processing everything that happened. Thank you to everyone who commented with advice and support. I seriously read every single comment. For those who asked about my health, my blood pressure has actually gotten better since everything went down, thank God, and I'm 7 months pregnant now. Charlotte Rose is kicking like crazy these days, so the confrontation at Kristen's engagement dinner, it happened. And oh my freaking God, you guys, I don't even know where to start with this whole thing. I was so nervous leading up to it, like physically sick, nervous. I kept going back and forth about whether I should actually do it or not. My mom always taught me to handle things privately and never air your dirty laundry in public, and I kept hearing her voice in my head all week. I miss her so much, and I kept thinking about how disappointed she'd be in me for causing a scene. But then I'd remember how Kristen was trying to destroy my marriage and potentially harming my baby with all this stress, and I'd get angry all over again. The dinner was at this fancy restaurant downtown. There were about 30 people there, both families, some close friends, etc. Mark was really quiet on the drive over. He kept reaching over and squeezing my hand. I was wearing this black maternity dress that made me feel slightly less whale-like. Pregnancy is magical, but oh my freaking God, the swelling. When we got there, Kristen barely acknowledged me. She gave Mark a huge hug and told him she was glad he could make it, completely ignoring me standing right there. Whatever. I basically expected that. During the pre-dinner mingling, I overheard Kristen talking to Greg's mom, saying some people might not be able to attend their wedding due to complicated circumstances while looking at my baby bump. Dinner itself was awkward. I was seated pretty far from Kristen with Mark's cousin and her husband. The food was really good, but I could barely eat anything. Mark kept checking on me with these little glances. After the main course, Kristen stood up and made a toast about family loyalty and standing by those you love no matter what. She looked directly at me when she mentioned loyalty, and Mark squeezed my hand hard under the table. When dessert came out, Kristen made another pointed comment about certain people's fidelity, and I saw Greg looking confused. A bunch of people at the table got really quiet and uncomfortable. And that's when I decided it was time. I couldn't take it anymore. I tapped my water glass with my spoon and stood up. My heart was pounding. Like seriously, I could hear it in my ears. The whole table went quiet and looked at me. Kristen's face went from surprised to panicked to this weird superior smile in like 2 seconds flat. I started by congratulating them. I said congrats to Kristen and Greg on their engagement. I actually meant it too. Greg seemed like a genuinely nice guy, and I felt bad for him. Then I took a deep breath and said I wanted to address some rumors that had been circulating about me. Kristen immediately tried to stop me, saying it wasn't the time or place. Mark told her to let me speak. I had a folder of evidence in my purse and I pulled it out. My hands were literally shaking. I explained the timeline, how the rumors started immediately after I refused to name our daughter after Kristen's cat. Several people looked confused at this point. I explained the cat name situation briefly and showed the first screenshot where Kristen wrote she was going to make me pay for refusing to honor Princess Buttercup. Kristen tried to grab the papers and knocked over a water glass. The room went dead silent. I continued by showing the other screenshots and explaining how I'd talked to Alicia, Greg's ex, who told me Kristen had done the exact same thing to her, spread rumors about her cheating, which caused their breakup. Then Kristen started dating Greg like 2 weeks later. Greg went from confused to shocked to really angry. He asked Kristen if this was true and if she made it all up. Kristen tried to deny it at first, but when I showed the proof in her own words, she started crying about how everyone was attacking her on her special night. When no one came to her defense, she screamed, "You're all taking her side." Greg said he needed some air and walked out. Kristen ran after him, but came back alone a few minutes later crying. She stood there staring at everyone, then screamed "traitors" and stormed out. The silence afterwards was so awkward. Mark's parents apologized to me. Greg's family just sat there shocked. I felt vindicated and horrible for ruining the dinner. The next day, Greg called Mark to say he was breaking off the engagement. He said he'd had doubts before, but this confirmed his worst fears about her character. Kristen has been sending me awful texts calling me a homewrecker and family destroyer, which is rich coming from her. Then yesterday, the text just stopped. Complete silence, which is honestly more concerning. The most surprising part was my mother-in-law. She came over yesterday and we had a really intense talk. She was crying and admitted they had enabled Kristen's behavior her entire life. She said they always knew Kristen was difficult, but never wanted to deal with it. I actually feel kind of bad for her. Mark has finally set some real boundaries with his sister. He told her she won't be welcome around our baby unless she gets therapy and makes a genuine effort to change. I've never seen him stand up to her like this before. According to Mark's cousin, Kristen has moved to her friend's apartment temporarily. She's posting vague stuff on social media about needing a fresh start away from toxic family, without mentioning why her engagement ended. The weirdest thing happened yesterday. I got a small package from Greg containing a silver baby rattle and a note thanking me for saving him from making a terrible mistake. I was totally shocked. Mark thought it was a nice gesture, but also a little weird. I'm keeping the rattle though, it's really pretty. I'm still processing how I feel about everything. I'm relieved the truth is out and that Mark and I are on the same page again. His trust in me is completely restored and we're back to normal. Better than normal, actually. He's been super attentive and apologetic, but I'm also sad about the whole family situation. I never wanted to cause this kind of rift. Families are complicated and messy, and now there's this huge divide. Even though Kristen is clearly in the wrong, I still feel guilty sometimes. I keep wondering if I could have handled it differently. Baby Charlotte Rose is doing great, though. All the checkups show she's developing well, and I'm actually enjoying pregnancy more now that this stress is gone. My due date is in 2 months, and we've started setting up the nursery. I hope someday Kristen gets the help she needs, and we can rebuild some kind of relationship. It will never be the sister relationship I once hoped for, but maybe something functional. For Charlotte's sake, I'd like her to know her aunt, but only if Kristen can get her shit together. Should I have handled things differently? Part of me still questions whether the public confrontation was the right move, even though it worked out in the end. What do you guys think? Edit. To those asking if I've heard from Kristen since her text stopped, no, nothing. Her Instagram has been weirdly quiet too, which is not like her at all. Mark tried calling her yesterday, but it went straight to voicemail. Edit 2. A lot of you are asking about Greg. No, I don't think we'll stay in touch or anything. The baby rattle was a nice gesture, but obviously it would be weird to maintain a relationship with my sister-in-law's ex. Mark and I both agreed on that. Edit 3. To the person who said I should be ashamed of myself for humiliating Kristen publicly. Are you serious? Did you even read my previous posts? She was deliberately trying to convince my husband and his entire family that I was cheating and that our baby might not be his. My blood pressure was dangerously high because of her lies. What exactly would you have done in my situation?